The rope creaked in the morning wind. Marcus Garvey Park, September 15, 1946, 6:23 a.m. An elderly woman walking her dog noticed something hanging from the old oak tree near the park's north entrance. At first, she thought it was laundry, someone's clothes caught in the branches overnight. Then she stepped closer and screamed. The NYPD arrived at 6:47 a.m. Detective Robert Walsh was the first officer to reach the tree. He stopped mid-step when he saw the body. His breath caught in his throat, not just from shock, but from understanding. This wasn't just a crime. This was a message. A young black man, no older than 19 or 20, hung from a noose tied to a thick oak branch. His feet dangled 3 feet off the ground. His head was tilted at an unnatural angle, the kind that told experienced cops exactly how long he'd suffered, slowly, painfully. He wore a Columbia University sweatshirt, khaki pants, one shoe missing, and deep rope burns circled his hands, signs of struggle, signs of a fight he couldn't win. 5 men had been stronger than one teenager. Pinned to his chest was a note, written in crude block letters, colors, "Know your place." Walsh scanned the empty park. Early Sunday morning. No witnesses. But the tree was visible from 3 different streets. Whoever did this wanted Harlem to see it, wanted fear to spread, wanted to remind the neighborhood that even in New York City, even in 1946, terror still had a rope. This was a lynching. In the North. Walsh reached into the boy's pocket and pulled out a wallet with shaking hands. Columbia University student ID. Thomas Johnson. The blood drained from Walsh's face. Not Johnson. Please God, not that Johnson. His partner, Detective Sullivan, stepped closer. Who is he? Walsh swallowed hard. Thomas Johnson. Sullivan froze. As in Ellsworth, Bumpy Johnson. Walsh nodded. Silence hung heavier than the body above them. What do we write in the report? Sullivan finally asked. Walsh stared at the dirt. 20 years on the force. An oath to serve and protect. Justice, law, truth. And reality. 5 white men had lynched a black teenager. And even if Walsh found them, even if he arrested them, no jury in 1946 would convict. The system would fail. Like it always did. Suicide, Walsh said quietly. Sullivan looked at him. What? We write suicide. We notify the family. And then we stay out of what comes next. Sullivan hesitated. You think Bumpy Johnson, I think, Walsh said, his voice hard now, those 5 men just signed their own death warrants. And the safest thing we can do, is look the other way. Sullivan nodded. Suicide, he said. Thomas Johnson was 19 years old. A first-year Columbia University student, pre-law. He wanted to be a civil rights attorney, believing injustice could be fought in courtrooms instead of alleyways. Professors said he had one of the sharpest legal minds they'd seen in years. Every Sunday morning at exactly 6 a.m., Thomas walked through Marcus Garvey Park on his way to Abyssinian Baptist Church. Same route. Same time. Someone had been watching. The Ku Klux Klan in 1946 wasn't just a Southern problem. Secret cells operated in northern cities, New York, Chicago, Boston. In Harlem, a 15-man cell met every other Friday in a warehouse on East 98th Street. They wore work uniforms by day. White hoods by night. On September 13, they drew straws. 5 men were chosen to send a message: Danny Morrison, Rick Sullivan, Lou Bennett, Frank Dorsey, and Charlie Ross. They chose Thomas Johnson because he was everything they hated: educated, visible, successful, and black. On September 15, at 6:05 a.m., Thomas entered the park carrying his Bible. He never made it to church. 5 men stepped out of the shadows. No hoods. No ceremony. This wasn't intimidation. It was execution. Thomas ran, made it 20 feet before they tackled him. His glasses shattered. His Bible fell into the grass. He fought anyway, small, outnumbered, terrified. Danny Morrison pulled the rope from his coat. The same rope he practiced tying nooses with days earlier. "Please," Thomas cried. "I didn't do anything." For a moment, Charlie Ross hesitated. Then Danny threw the rope over the branch. For minutes later, Thomas Johnson was dead. Bumpy Johnson got the phone call at 7:12 a.m., "It's Thomas. Ruth's boy." Bumpy said nothing. The phone felt like it weighed 100 pounds. "They're calling it suicide," the voice said. "But boss, there was a note." Bumpy hung up. 10 minutes later, he stood up, put on his coat, and walked to his sister's apartment. Ruth Johnson sat on the couch, broken. "They took my baby." Bumpy held her as she cried. After a long silence, he spoke. "I'm going to handle this." "Will it bring him back?" Ruth asked. "No, then what's the point?" "The point," Bumpy said quietly, "is that no other mother in Harlem buries her son like this." Ruth looked at him. "Make them understand," she whispered. "I will." What followed took 7 days. 5 men destroyed. 10 more erased. 1 message delivered. Danny Morrison was hanged in his garage. Rick Sullivan burned, permanently disfigured. Lou Bennett broke down in the woods, spent a year in a psychiatric hospital. Frank Dorsey lost everything to arson. Charlie Ross fled to California. The remaining KKK members disbanded immediately. Harlem protects its own. KKK never operated in Harlem again. Not once. Over 3,000 people attended Thomas Johnson's funeral at Abyssinian Baptist Church. The casket was closed at Ruth's insistence. She wanted people to remember him alive, smiling, full of promise. Bumpy stood silently beside his sister, a photograph in hand, Thomas in his Columbia sweatshirt, the men who destroyed him, the warehouse fire, the evidence of justice delivered. "Every man who touched you," Bumpy whispered to himself. "Every man who supported them. Harlem delivered justice. Rest easy, nephew. Your mother is safe. Your neighborhood is safe. Nobody will do this again. I promise. Uncle Bumpy." Ruth placed a flower on the casket. "Is it over?" "It's over," Bumpy said. "Did they understand?" "Every single one of them understands loss now. Understands pain." Thomas Johnson had wanted to fight injustice through the legal system. But when the system failed, his uncle became his justice. 7 days, 12 men destroyed, 1 message sent, and the KKK learned what it meant to touch Harlem's children.